Donald Trump will be arrested tomorrow. He will surrender in New York City. He will appear in court, presumably to enter a plea of not guilty, at which point he is expected to leave New York City, fly back to Florida, and hold what will certainly be an unhinged press conference at Mar-a-Lago shortly after 8 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be covering all of it live. We will be live tomorrow with the arraignment, and we will be live tomorrow with the press conference. That is essentially all I can tell you at this time because there are so many unknowns at this point. One of those unknowns is whether the arraignment will be televised. I'm going to separate that question out just for a moment, because it's really its own question. And we will talk a little bit about what is to be expected tomorrow. The latest news is that Trump will fly from Florida to New York today, Monday. And even though the arraignment is scheduled for 2:15 tomorrow, there are reports that Trump will be at the courthouse early in the morning. Why isn't exactly clear. Certainly fingerprints, potentially a mugshot, not expected to be handcuffed based on everything we know right now. But that doesn't take that long. Is it because of security considerations? Well, maybe. There's numerous reports that New York plans to close key streets for Trump's arraignment. Patricia Hurtado from Bloomberg News reporting that, and that the entire area surrounding the Manhattan courthouse is going to be closed down to vehicle traffic. It is also known that there are tunnels and different ways to get to the main courthouse building from surrounding buildings. And for security reasons, presumably, Donald Trump may be brought in through some kind of circuitous path. It's not exactly completely clear. We continue to learn more about what are the charges. Initially, we didn't know. Then we knew that the number was over 30. More recently, it's sort of focused in on the number 34. Questions about, is it all misdemeanors? The latest report from CBS News is that there are felony charges here. So not only charges against Trump, not only nearly 36 charges against Trump in this one of 3 or 4 major criminal investigations, but felony charges as well. At least one of them. CBS News reporting former President Donald Trump faces a felony charge, a source told CBS News Saturday. A person familiar with the matter said to CBS News, Trump is being charged with falsifying business records in the first degree, which is a felony in New York State. Now, immediately, the law and order people coming out and saying it shouldn't be a felony. This is part of the problem. Screw that. Well, if you're for law and order, right now, that's a felony. And if you are not above the law, if we have justice, then everyone, regardless of their position, job, wealth, or situation of power, would be subject to that law. But how quickly the law and order people change their tune when it is all of a sudden inconvenient. There were concerns about violent protests as a result of Trumpists showing up here or there. Now, I don't believe we are yet out of the woods, because there is a protest planned tomorrow at noon in New York City involving repugnant and radical reactionary Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. We will talk about that separately. But the good news so far is that the protests we've seen at Trump Tower in New York City and at Mar-a-Lago have been pathetic. A report from Bloomberg News is that at Mar-a-Lago, few show up to protest Trump's indictment. There were a dozen, maybe 24 people, quite pathetic. And honestly, I'm glad. I don't want there to be violence. And there was some video from New York City where I think there was it's not even a protest, it's sort of like a show of support at Trump Tower, where there were 1 or 2 people, not 1 or 2 dozen, 1 or 2 people, which is absolutely hilarious. Now, many of you have started to write to me and said, David, we know you're going to be away in a little bit. What's the timeline of this Trump thing? Are you going to be around to cover it? The expectation is that, number one, these things don't move that quickly. And number two, you always want to delay as much as you can. There's an interesting article called Donald Trump's Time-Tested Legal Strategy, Attack and Delay. This article from DNYUZ says these two tactics have been at the center of Donald Trump's favored strategy in court cases for much of his adult life. and will likely be the former president's approach to fighting the criminal charges now leveled against him. You want to delay as much as possible, and many attorneys will tell you there are a whole bunch of reasons for this. You can delay with the hopes that those in charge of prosecuting the case get frustrated, change jobs, whatever. You can delay and delay and delay with the hopes that witnesses forget their testimony or they die or whatever the case may be. It is often said by attorneys in many different areas of criminal law, the longer you can delay actually adjudicating a case, the better. And so listen, the fact that I'll be away next week shouldn't at all impact my ability to cover this, because we could be talking about months, if not years, potentially here. And that is certainly to be expected. I am not aware, in terms of the defense, that this is all political, that this is all a witch hunt, that these are merely political decisions rather than legal decisions. This is one of the main defenses we've heard from people around Donald Trump. I can't think of anyone that has used the demand of political investigations more than Donald Trump. When Trump and his political allies say, investigate Hillary, lock up Hunter, charge Joe Biden, et cetera, absent any reason to do so, it is they who have demanded the political prosecution of their opponents. And Trump is at the top of that. So every time we hear this is all Alvin Bragg, Soros, politics, this, that, the other thing, don't let your eye come away from the ball. And the ball is, all along, Trump has been at the top of the list of those who demand the political prosecution of his opponents. Let's now talk about the potential gag order and the potential for Donald Trump to be re-arrested. One of our continued sponsors is Ground News, an app and website that aggregates local and international news sources to show you how breaking news is being reported around the world. It has become a go-to resource for me. Right now, I'm looking at a story about residents in Ohio reporting medical symptoms after the train derailment. Ground News shows the headline from the Washington Post, owned by Jeff Bezos, says East Palestine residents should look to Agent Orange victims. The headline from the Epoch Times, a radical right-wing outlet, says federal officials enter 500 East Palestine homes after toxic train crash. I also like that you can sort things by factuality, location, and bias. Check out Ground News for free at ground.news/Pacman. If you find Ground News as useful as I do, subscribe for unlimited access. The link is down below.